everybody to a interesting episode, I'd say. This is a game I've been glancing at on occasion. However, the premise is very intriguing to me. Roadwarden, from what I can tell, is a text, not really a text adventure, but that is part of it, an isometric text adventure game where you, as a road warden, is kind of like a jack of all trades. You could be a courier one day, and you could be a defender of villages for another, or you can be someone who helps expand, a guild's influence. You're just kind of a jack of all trades. The only trade-off is you go where nobody else goes. You go and you do things that nobody else wants to do. That is your job as a road warden. It's a very lonely, very lonesome life. But it is, in some ways, profitable. And this is the demo of Roadwarden. I will do a full playthrough of it when it comes out. However, I've kind of glanced a few minutes at it, but I haven't done anything of the sort otherwise. So, to the developers of Roadwarden, I will see where this goes, and we'll go from there. For now, let's start a new game. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Road wardens not only accept this struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and if possible, get rid of the beast and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young, or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays well. The palisade is still standing. You don't see any wolves around. There's no stench of blood. Good signs. The gate is ajar, almost welcomingly so, but the thought of spending the night in a camp such as this makes you anxious. A wooden wall may keep away the goblins and pebblers, but not dragonlings or trolls. It would be safer to search for another shelter, but it doesn't look like you have a choice. The sky is already darkening. You can hear the tired breath of your palfrey. It's been carrying you on its back since sunrise. It may not be hungry, but it needs to rest. You're far less likely to find cutthroats within these walls than to stumble upon bloodthirsty monsters while roaming through the night. Okay, so that's a good start. Very descriptive, kind of gives an idea. I need to look around cautiously. You were supposed to meet with a group of soldiers. This should be the place you were looking for, but you need to stay vigilant if you don't want to get into any trouble. The birds, insects, and mammals living among the trees are loud as usual. If there's anyone inside the camp, they probably didn't notice the sound of trotting hooves. Unless they're surveying from the area from a concealed position, they shouldn't be aware of your presence. Well, interesting. We're gonna save. Oh, return, and we're just gonna sneak into the camp. When your heavy boots touch the ground, you realize how tired you are after the entire day of riding. Your back and legs are going to hurt tomorrow. You can already feel it. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. All you want now is an inn with a free table, a decent chair, a nice mug of beer, and some warm stew. Perhaps another time. It's bright, just enough to help you avoid stepping on any branch. Despite your weariness, you have no trouble maintaining control over your body. You know how to stay quiet. I slowly approach the gate. If it's a military camp, it doesn't look the part. Much of the space is wasted. There are barely any tents. You see some wood prepared for the campfire, but there's no fire in sight. Nothing special, really. At least the palisade looks firm. Two people are sitting at the table. One of them is holding a cup. They look bored, tired, even disheartened. They're sitting quietly, looking in different directions, without paying attention to one another. After a moment, you notice that one of them is quietly humming a melody that you recognize from the city harbor. A light-hearted drinking song. They don't seem hostile. I can enter. Even though you don't try to move quietly, it takes them a few breaths to even glance in your direction. You presence doesn't seem to have made them any more energetic. The one that is closer to you raises his hand and waves to you in a greeting. His hair and beard are messy. There are bags under his eyes. He wears a simple dirty shirt, though his high boots look expensive, durable. A mace, with a head covered in iron, hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. He slightly smiles. I take a look at the second person. After a closer look, you realize the second soldier is a woman. She's wearing the gambitson, the most common type of armor there is, though hers looks quite masculine. It wasn't tailored for a female figure. Perhaps she's not its original owner. Her head is shaven, a common method of treating flesh-eating bugs. She looks at you with a gentle smile, though her absent eyes makes her appear drained. You could believe that these two are soldiers, one of those who were left on duty for far too long. Let's let them speak first. Let their intentions be known. It's nice to see an unarmed traveler, or unharmed traveler in this godforsaken shithole, says the bearded man. Makes me just a tiny bit hopeful. His voice is strong, though not full of confidence. I'm guessing you'll be staying the night. We're soldiers, he and I, adds the armored woman. Just a moment ago, she seemed to be half asleep, but now she sounds soothingly calm, tranquil. We do our best to keep the camp safe, but if you could take the first watch, it'd be a huge help. If they're not lying, these are the people you're looking for, though there should be more of them, an entire squad. Sure, leave it to me. Fantastic. She rubs her hands together. I don't remember when was the last time I had more than a half night of sleep. The time before midnight should be the calmest. Just wake us up if anything happens. The man smirks. It's easy to wake us up. Just yell. He drinks from his mug. I try to find out where their lieutenant is. How would you like to approach this topic? Whenever you meet new people, you can influence how they perceive you by selecting one of their attitudes. So friendly, playful, enrich your conversation with a joke or witty comment. I think we're going to be distanced. No, don't play vulnerable. I'm looking for your lieutenant. The woman stands up, dusts off her gambitson, and rests her hand on the hilt of her sword at her side. Her shoulders are straight, her eyes attentive. It'll be me, traveler. Are you in trouble? I'm your new Roadwarden. Once you make the first impression, the attitudes become inactive. Got it. I gotcha. I'm your new Roadwarden. My horse is waiting outside. You should probably unsaddle it, shouldn't you? I bet it's tired. She glances at the gate, then at her companion. When she speaks again, you don't see a shadow of her previous weariness. Her voice is strong. I have instructions you were meant to receive at this camp. At least some of them. She reaches out to you. A polite handshake. Lieutenant Tulia. I shake her hand. I'm... Leto? No. We're just gonna go with, my moniker, Juno. Lieutenant's hand is strong, like a manual laborer's. Her grasp is confident, the shake is light, then she steps away. You can place your horse wherever you like, though it's better to keep it away from the tents. We don't need the smell of its dung. Ah, that reminds me. That reminds me. The soldier in a shirt also stands up. We don't have any. We don't have one to spare. If you don't carry one, you have to use a blanket or something. That's fine. I'm used to sleeping under the stars. I mean, the dialogue so far and the writing seems pretty strong. Sorry. Allergies. You turn away and, with no rush, walk toward your horse. It nervously looks around and snorts to show its discomfort. Even though you're used to spending time with palfreys, it's an impressively large creature, not only higher than you, but also massive, wide, as heavy as it is strong. If necessary, you need only a couple of confident, quick movements to sit down in the saddle. But most people wouldn't even know where to begin. From every side, it looks like an unattainable barrier of flesh. Horses are not a common sight in the Empire, and not an indigenous species either. They were brought here from the conquests in the south and can't survive in the forest by themselves. They can run for a long time, but not fast enough to escape all of the local monsters. But it's a disciplined beast. Trained by the experts since it was a foal, it can keep it together. As long as I'm on the road, this horse is my friend. I want it to feel at ease. Once you show up, the horse makes a few steps forwards you. That doesn't sound right. The horse makes a few steps towards you. It snorts again, rebukingly. It doesn't like to be left behind, even for such a short time. You scratch the bottom of its neck, with confidence and energy, just the way it likes it. People avoid referring to their palfreys and pets as either he or she. All animals are considered to be monsters in disguise. Being emotionally attached to them is believed to bring bad luck. But you know that horses are different. They want companionship. They want to be taken care of. Sure, it's difficult to tame them, but at least they aren't as aggressive as wolves. You honestly don't understand how some can reject friendship of such beautiful creatures and lead it to the camp. You move behind the gate, nearby the campfire. Well, the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal. With enough time, it uncomfortably rubs the skin. Moving the saddle alone makes the horse nicker with relief. Take a couple of minutes to examine its back, just in case. You wish it had something better to eat than the shabby grass. You should look for an inn. I need to unpack my things, check if everything is safe. You haven't packed that many things, fewer than you'd wish for. You lost one sack while fleeing from some roaming crimson ghouls. Worst of all, you have no rope left. But maybe the soldiers could share one. Shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. In the saddlebags, you gathered some clothes to change. Wooden dishes, a tinder box, things to make a torch, your cape, bandages, food rations, a knife, a purse. Nothing special. After all, the heavier your packages, the more difficult it is for your horse to run. Aside from that, you have some more valuable possessions, ones that are essential for your trade. Now, this is something interesting. You basically get to choose a class based on the equipment you carry, and it's natural. So, since I'm a fighter, decent combat, an axe was already mentioned, but let's see. Axe is all in all three of them. I'm gonna go with scholar. It seems interesting. I was a scholar, and unlike most people, I'm literate. I have instruments that allow me to write, brew alchemical potions, and mixture herbs and other ingredients. I also have a decent iron axe and an old gambit set. Open your inventory. Ooh! I have knowledge. Food rations, purse with coins, battle axe, hood with a cloak, a worn gambitson, set of herbs, chemical ingredients, and writing instruments. You collect your stuff and check if they are in good shape. You do it almost automatically, routinely. As usual, you don't find anything out of the ordinary, but you feel better knowing it. The soldiers at the table again. They observe you and quietly talk to each other, though they don't try to hide it. They eat something out of wooden bowls. Your stomach growls. You see another wooden bowl put at a previously unused end of the table, as well as a wooden log that is meant to be used as a chair. have rations. I don't trust them. Trust is... well, I thank them for the meal, but I don't want to eat with them. I sit down and ask Tully what she can tell me about this area. She shows no signs of previous tiredness. She's focused and carefully chooses her words, sometimes pausing to think about additional details. Whenever it happens, she glances at something in the distance, but for most of the time, she doesn't avoid eye contact. I'm afraid I can't tell you less than I would like to, and probably less than I should. She nods towards the other soldier. As you can say, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenant. 5 are dead, and 1 has run away in tears. We're all such strangers in this land, adds her companion. The job that you know, the things that you know about this place will help me do my job. The man leans forward. His legs nervously shake. He sounds enthusiastic, like a kid who's asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or make a magic trick. Whatever it takes to escape from boredom. You realize his beard hides a much younger face than you had originally thought. What did the officials tell you when they sent you here? I expect not much. I have no control over this land. What I've discussed with the officials should stay between me and them. You think how unprepared you are for the task you took upon yourself. You're warned that this area is wild, dangerous, unfamiliar. It's just too far away from the city to keep it under control. In its isolation, the land became mysterious. Nobody knows how many villages, bandits, or monsters may be found in these hills and forests. There are no maps that could help you, and you've just found the last military squad that was sent here. You know that it's a place of both danger and opportunity. You have no idea what you can find here. You're eager to see what you'll accomplish, but also anxious that it all may lead to your doom. Yet, I keep this all to myself. Actually, I prefer to keep it this way, says Tulia. The less you tell us, the smaller the chance that commanders will send us here again. There's bitterness in her brief laughter. I don't mind being a soldier, you know. I just hope to find an outpost where I won't have to bid farewell to most people I know. It's understandable. The lieutenant drinks from her cup, crosses her legs. Galandi, sitting in her chair, makes you doubt she should be able to find a comfortable position. So, go ahead. Where should we start? Well, I kind of figure how she became a lieutenant. Actually, I've lost my rope. Can you spare one? Well, then you're in luck. She goes towards one of the crates and moves aside a large linen sack, then grabs a rope that was covered by it. She brings it back and nonchalantly sits down in her chair. If you want it, you can take it. I've planned to leave it behind. Take a closer look at the rope and make sure there are no weakening cuts or other defects. It's a fine rope, made of hemp fibers. Thank you. Alright, what was your mission? The lieutenant observes you feel judged. You know, the usual, making the roads safe, keeping people alive. The atmosphere became a bit colder. Well, it's not pushing. What do I need to know about the area? It's difficult to start, so I'll just tell you all I know, she says to the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? If your palfrey's decent, I'd guess it'd be 4-5 days. When you confirm, she continues. The roads here are shitty, but you could get to the coast in about a day, as long as you won't make any stops. You know the situation? Well, I know ships can get here. You nod. Ships are essential for traders. Having a secure sea route allows city officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages, collect taxes, move soldiers around, transport lumber, and bring back fresh seafood. But trying to maintain order on a wild coast such as this one. It is as wise as trying to fill the ocean depths with coins. Because of the rocks, you can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore, and the boats can't get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but apparently it doesn't go that great. So there's not that many people living at the shore, and they don't care much about staying in touch with the city for whatever reasons. As she pauses, the man carries on. They were never hostile towards us, though. They mostly kept their distance, never came to this camp. Yet, whenever we go to get some supplies, the nearby roadside inn, Clean Spear, the locals were happy to trade and to play dice. Why not go to one of the settlements? They not allow your squad to enter. How are you able to gather news? The man looks at his superior. She doesn't look back, instead staring at you. Her words are quiet. You can sense her discomfort. Don't take it the wrong way, Juno. But are you a religious person? Well, personally, let's say of the common church. So are we. So are we, the man smiles. Though in this land it won't bring you much good. At least we can handle this topic loosely, says Tulia with a barely visible smile. You feel like some sort of tension has eased. The common church kind of makes sense, especially for the guardsmen. So let's get into it. The people here are disquieting. Every few words, she taps the table with her finger. They follow all sorts of beliefs that would need to be abandoned if they were interested in trade deals with the city. Here's an example. She starts to draw invisible lines with her index finger, as if she's pointing at an invisible map. Stay on the road, ride north for a bit. When you get to the crossroads, turn left. After a few hours, you'll get to a swamp and a large village. Then you ride some more, and as far north as you can. Turn left again, you'll get to another place. It's not exactly pagan, I don't think, so... It even has a priest that claims to be an eremite. So a free church. Yet they do all sorts of crazy shit there. The man looks uneasy. They use undead to cut the trees and work in swamps. They don't even burn the bodies of their relatives. It's a terrifying place. I see. You've heard rumors such as this one before. Everyone has. If an isolated settlement manages to survive without a city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more and more alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous condition they have to deal with. Their river of faith gets muddy from the rustic pagan traditions. The common church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers, and blood sorcerers, who are supposedly going to bring doom upon any village that won't banish them. But as far as you can tell, these tales are usually exaggerated, even fear-mongering. The soldiers are right, and this is the real deal. It may be interesting. I let them continue. Oh boy, that's a lot of talking. I might have to separate this into multiple parts. You can see why we're not eager to go there. You can see why we were not eager to go there if not necessary. Lieutenant smiles apologetically. I'm sure they will be more welcoming to a Roadwarden, though. The majority of the roads here are unprotected. There are almost no inns around, even fewer than there are hamlets. People need your help. The man turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest. If you're heading to this village, you'll need to get to an inn first. On a horse, you'll get there in less than a day, I think. Tulia nods. It's a safe place, this inn. You can talk with the innkeep or the guards, ask them for the road. And the east? This time, she shakes her head. Hard to tell. There's a thick forest there. I saw a road that looks like a tunnel covered by leaves. We were afraid of the beast, so we mostly stood nearby this camp, or on the western roads. Any monster worth mentioning? Anything that can catch my mount? We saw all sorts of beasts, says the man, and starts to count on his fingers. Trolls, goblin, cats large and small, running birds, howlers, wolves, spark boars, sheep-eaters, tons of griffins. And we managed to avoid the majority of them. Yes, this definitely may catch up with... Some may definitely catch up with most mounts. Tulia looks at her companion. But you're not sure how to read her body language. Though palfrey should be fine. There are a lot of high plants in this peninsula. Flying creatures usually stay nearby the ocean, since there's not that many humans around. The animals are busy fighting amongst themselves. The man cracks his knuckles. They fight more for food than territory. Don't provoke them, and you may ride fast. Just count on luck. I nodded. Locals may know more about the most dangerous areas. I think that's all we have to say. I need to know what happened to the previous Roadwarden. Any ideas? As you speak, the soldiers seem to be rather indifferent. They confirm that they've met him a couple of times, but he was only willing to speak with the previous lieutenant. After his death, the Roadwarden has stopped showing up in the camp. It was late in the spring, almost half a year ago. He finally asked what do they think about him. The bearded soldier is the first to answer. Astario was not looking for friendships. Always busy, drowning in things to take care of. Even if he spent a night or two in this camp, he would have been sitting somewhere all by himself, sharpening his sword, fixing mail, cleaning clothes. He was writing down some notes on this wax tablet of his, and honestly, I wouldn't recognize his voice now. Unlike us, Asterion never gets bored. Tulia briefly chuckles through her voice, though her voice doesn't express joy. He's a secretive man when he needs to, but the locals talk about him warmly, so maybe he just doesn't like us. Is he dead, or did he just disappear? If anyone knows it, they won't tell us. Man shrugs. Unless he's locked in someone's basement, or daddy's alive. We haven't seen his lizard. He hasn't tried to contact us, even though we were even asking about him for a bit. No idea where he could be. If the officials avoid you, I clearly don't expect him to return. I bet something already ate him. Richer Roadwardens often use four-legged, meat-eating saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since they're hatchlings. But unlike horses, they can easily defend themselves from many imperial monsters. On the other hand, they enjoy attacking nearby targets a bit too much. You prefer to be assisted by a fast, reliable palfrey. At least it won't suddenly sink its teeth into an innocent passerby. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left you a message? Neither one of us had any insight into his business, says Tulia. Our previous lieutenant surely knew more. We looked through his things after he died, but he hasn't left any clues. We also took a look at what Asterion left you. Wait! She stops for a moment and raises her hand. That reminds me. She stands up, takes a few steps away, looks towards the nearby tent. Asterion has kids, in a village nearby the city. I was planning to take all his things there. A purse, his backup spear, a decent bow, some potions. Quite a treasure. She finally turns her back to you. But I would prefer to bring them the truth about their father. So you want me to find out what happened to him in exchange for his stuff? Here's the catch. She dusts the hilt off her sword. We've hired a messenger to ask the commanders for further directions, since she hasn't returned, and you know nothing about the new orders. So, she either ran away, or something happened to her. She sighs with resignation. It doesn't matter now. We'll wait for 5 more days. On the 6th dawn, we're leaving this camp and move to the city with all the things we have. What do you think? Can you manage? If he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy when I take away all his possessions. True, but he's considered to be dead. If you find him, you may share with him your reward. But let's be serious. There's a good chance you'll save his life. Maybe you'll find his body lying on the roadside. He had a mail, used mostly a spear. Quite a short guy, maybe 5 feet tall, long red beard, short hair, also red. Rather pale face, rarely smiles. She glances at her companion, but he shrugs. So bring him in. Find out what has happened to him. If he's dead or simply left the peninsula, let me know. Just do this before the 6th dawn. She sits down again and stretches her leg. Anything I need to know about this place? Turns out the soldiers here don't know much about this place. And what they've told you, it was built by some merchants. They wanted an extra stop for their mules and donkeys, just between the inn and the southern village. There's plenty of grass here, and a pond nearby. When the peninsula became more dangerous, the camp stood abandoned, from time to time serving as a shelter for travelers. It's hard to say if the bandits had intended to arrive here and inhabit this place, or if they accidentally stumbled upon it. They came here in the spring, further paralyzing the exchange of information between the northern and southern settlements. There's a chance that since these highwaymen are no more, the current situation may reverse. Time will tell. Though the city would need more threats to accomplish this. Those willing to get rid of the local threats, such as myself. You can sleep whenever you want. If you were me, where would you go next? Man quickly answers. To the end, definitely. Grabs his empty mug. The one northwest from here. If you can't afford a decent room, you can lay down in the main hall, free of charge. Sometimes the locals gather there. That's the main refuge between the eastern and western roads. Mentions to you. They should be able to tell you about this. That, or at least you'll have a chance to introduce yourself. The innkeeper knows many souls. Any tips how I can make a first good impression? Avoid cheap jokes. Stick to business. Don't waste his time. Show him they can be reliable. I'll remember that. Professional. And what happened? The man shrugs. Bandits happened. Bandits and monsters. And a usually large group of bandits. Well, his companion chips in. The man continues. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw a large group of people living in this camp. The lieutenant decided to avoid it. Look for an inn instead, even though we had to travel through the night for a bit. He scoffs and crosses his arm. If he had decided otherwise, we'd have all died that day. The innkeeper had explained the camp was a trap for travelers. That the people inside pretended to be soldiers. Stay there for the night and lose everything you have. It seems oddly familiar. Were they murdering people in their sleep? Talia shakes her head. Sometimes. If they had time to take care of the living prisoners, they would have sold them to pirates. Not sure how or where. Also, they were letting the northerners go, hoping to avoid their wrath. That kind of worked, asked the other soldier. When we asked them for help, they refused to join us. We had to clear the entire camp on our own. That's why 3 of our people have died. Don't exaggerate. It's not like the lieutenant had made a mistake. He wanted to get rid of them and take over their camp. But we didn't know our enemy well enough. We were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage among them. She looks at you. At least we cleared the road. We helped, maybe saved dozens of people since then. You mentioned monsters as well. Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived the skirmish were young. too inexperienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader. They didn't trust me enough to stay disciplined all the way through. One of them got caught by a treant. Another one decided to ignore my orders and tried to perform some sort of ritual hunt. So a werebear tore to pieces. Ugh. The last one had tried to act tough, so he didn't tell us that he'd cut his arm while cleaning his gambeson. She chuckles, though somewhat ghastly. We had to cut it off. He was so ashamed that he decided to walk north, find a new life, disappear. Idiot. What a colorful Johnny. The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. Stay silent. Let's change the topic, shall we? I think I got everything. Wait, how did she become? It's not much of a story, honestly. She looks at her hand, which is currently rolling a mug over the table. In the city, there's a strict order of, how should I call it? She exchanges looks with her companion, but it doesn't look like he can help her. Well, leadership succession, I guess. The city chief selects commanders. The commanders select lieutenants. And every lieutenant puts on all their soldiers in an order of priority. If a lieutenant dies, they get replaced by the next soldier in line. So you were a successor. I imagine not. I imagine several other people died. Not exactly. When we fought the bandits, our lieutenant was hit from a crossbow. His boyfriend jumped to help him, but failed to protect any of them from the spell. It was like a ball of ice that hung above them and exploded, piercing their heads, completely avoiding their shield. Really unpleasant. I'm not surprised they weren't unprepared for it. She pauses. And you were the third in line, is that right? Basically, yeah. She doesn't look too enthusiastic about it. I didn't plan to become a leader, though, thankfully, there's a good chance I'll get demoted once we return to the city. I prefer to be a soldier. After another pause, you think you could ask another question. It's getting late. I think we should prepare for the night. I agree, Tulia sighs with relief. And you may do better than Asterion did. Stay vigilant. She winks at you. It looks weird. Oh, excuse me. Journal. People. Sorry, I'm just reading to myself. Thank you for your help. She cheerfully smiles. Once again, it looks like you have an opportunity to see a different person. Someone hidden behind her facade of a soldier. Not a problem. Not a problem. That's her companion. You realize you still haven't heard his name. It's nice to be entertained by something different than a group of wolves skulking around. Stand up and prepare for the night. Take care of yourself. When you're hurt or exhausted, some actions may become unavailable to you. Feels nice to walk again, but it would be even nicer to lay down and close your eyes. You approach your horse to make sure it feels comfortable, but apparently it's already napping. If it won't be alerted for an hour or so, maybe we can finally lay down and truly rest. You want to check if your equipment is fine, but once you start unpacking, you realize you've already done it just a couple moments ago. You go to the barrel and splash water on your face. It makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. You survived quite a long journey, and reaching an unfriendly area, your first success as a Roadwarden. Since I've said I would take the first watch, I ask the soldiers what they want me to do. The man is here to guide you. Let's look around for a couple of hours. A lot of griffins run around, though they won't try to jump over a palisade. Probably. Better watch out for the apes. They climb well and carry out any food or trinkets they can find. And then there's this really loud werefolk that comes close to the wall, but has never tried to get in. Points at a gate. Lieutenant, I will soon block the entrances. quite heavy, so if anyone comes here and looks for shelter, better call us to help you out. It almost never happens, though. And if someone is chased by wolves or anything, better throw them this rope instead. He scratches his head. If it gets cold, feel free to make a fire. And the most comfortable place to look around is on the watchtower. You may want to put there a blanket or something. Watchtower? There's a watchtower? He questions it. He looks at you for a little while, clearly confused by your question. Oh, hey. He turns over towards the pile. That's the watchtower? He turns towards the pile of crates. Just climb to the tallest one. Have a great view. He snickers, but you know it's not true. You won't be able to spot any movement on the southern part of the palisade. Maybe the danger tends to come from the north. I say. Soldier pauses, then continues boldly. Thank you for your willingness to aid us. You do have to Laurel riding you might. He smiles and points at the tent on the other side of the camp. I can handle a couple hours sleeping on the ground. If you wish, go ahead and rest there, just this once. I used to have a paladin sword. Okay. I'm gonna go for another 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna call it here because I really like this. You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down on it. From time to time, you have to change positions to avoid back pain. It's not that bad. You may be tired, but you do your best to stay awake. The night is warm. The sporadic summer breeze brings nothing but gentle refreshment. Since there are not that many trees around, the light of the stars and the moon is quite enough to follow major movements and recognize various shapes, including a great stack of wood nearby the gate. During your watch, you'll have a chance to see monsters of many shapes and sizes, like those three-horned deers trying to challenge one another. But before they can clash their antlers, the predators appear. It's quite a spectacle. Two large mammals loudly try to intimidate a two-legged feathered lizard, which leads its much smaller offspring. Ultimately, both sides slowly walk away, not willing to risk the fight, nor to admit their defeat. I don't let it distract me. I keep looking around. You hear death screams of distant prey and mating calls of forest monkeys. Oh my. Running birds are chasing small mammals. A group of musk oxen lazily chews the nearby grass, preparing themselves to sleep. Weirdly enough, you see a raccoon dog running together with a lynx, acting rather playfully. You note to yourself that apparently such a companionship is a thing, though you don't think it's a crucial piece of information. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, climb down and go to a tent. A couple of words were all it took to wake up the man. Confirm that nothing important has happened, and prepare for sleep. I gather my things and head to the tent the soldier has shown me. Use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the pallet, and cover myself with my cloak. Sleeping in a tent, it is not the peak of your dreams, but is a much welcome rest. The mattress is comfortable, keeps the cold solid. Soil? Well, okay. It's peaceful here. The moonlight keeps the outside world on the verge of dark creepiness. You listen to your own breath and quickly find a comfortable position. Your job, or maybe an adventure, starts tomorrow. You can't help but think about the things you were asked to do by the commanders that hired you. I think about the real goal of my journey. The city's officials want to take control over this realm. You're not only meant to protect the locals, but even more importantly, explore the peninsula and find valuable spots that would convince the merchants to organize a new trade route. Figure out if there are any precious resources that could invite more settlers. You need to talk with the people who live here and get to know them, maybe even convince them to collaborate with your employers. Could the locals resist the arrival of soldiers? Are they going to oppose the laws of the common church? Are there any activities that need to be eradicated, such as blood sorcery, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? At least I have time. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should return to the city and report back to the commanders. Then you collect your reward. Ooh, I get to pick my my reward. Interesting. You're gonna pay me a lot. I need money to help someone I care about. Pay me a lot. So, you get paid a lot, help someone you care about. Paid a lot, and retire. Be responsible for the new trade route. Become an important player in the merchant guild. So basically, you're going to use your connections as a Roadwarden to become influential. I'll be the one who's going to bring peace and order to this realm. So, glory. I just want to help people. If I can make this area, I'm going to go with the last option. A new life. This is everything I need. I have a difficult past. I want all of this to be forgotten. Your half-woken senses are catching the sounds of the wild forest. All the roars, whimpers, howls, and singing. Your instincts keep you alerted and anxious. Through the pleasant, humid late summer air slowly evens it out. You can't travel during nighttime. You're thinking about your goal. You need to gather your strength. All I can do now is rest, and that we shall. You're hungry. Ending a day without a decent meal is going to weaken your body. You have 2 food rations left. Eat a food ration. You spend this night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from wind and rain. The ground won't be painfully hard nor cold. Sleep. Yes. You're woken up by sunlight, but you feel well rested. Ready. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice this weird smell, like a roast. No, a burning meat. Burning, rotten meat. Disgust slowly crawls towards your consciousness. You exit the tent. You instinctively look at your horse. While it's nervously looking around, at least nobody has slaughtered it while you were sleeping. The sound and stench of fire spur you to investigate. You see an open gate. Uh-oh. Both soldiers are standing on a nearby pyre, as humble as a pyre can be. The man looks at it quietly, contemplatively. Tulia is the first one to notice you. Juno. She greets you with a nod. We use the horse's manure for the fire, so don't worry about cleaning it up. You see a body among the flames. It's possible to tell if it's a male or female, but you can guess it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveler or an undead? The latter. Ugh, she says. She must have been woken up just recently. There was not enough magic in her to let her understand that she can't get inside the camp without climbing. I took her down with a spear from a safe distance. She sighs. If she had been affected by one more fog, she'd have become a real danger. Even now, it took a couple of hits to get her to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human body wakes up, gaining more strength. With every soul it devours and every moment it spends in the fogs, burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even Roadwardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Tulia calls this undead she. Interesting. Most Unites hesitate to do so. Time for me to leave. Running away from the right guy. I don't blame you. She sneers and walks with you for a few steps. Remember, if you manage to find out what has happened to Asterion, we're here for 5 more days. Feel free to come back if you've no place to sleep, or we can help you somehow. You shake hands, she smiles. Once again, her grip is firm and confident. It was nice to meet you. Good luck on the road. Good luck on the road. An old farewell. which has become infamously mocked in a number of songs and tales. It's seldom used without ironic undertones, yet you don't find any hint of sarcasm in Tulia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the following day. She returns to the pyre. Prepare myself for the journey. Okay, I'm gonna pause it here, because I think this is pretty much kind of the experience you're gonna get. If you're interested, feel free to check out Roadwarden on Steam. I will leave the link in the description below. So far, I'm intrigued. I like it. And I want to see more. I want to kind of play more. Talking is taking a lot out of me, but that's to be expected. There are some minor spelling errors here and there, but so far, I'm kind of intrigued in the setting. So, for right now, I'm going to save. And then from there, if you want me to continue, I don't know how much more of the demo is left, but I think I'm pretty much through it. I will continue this at a later time, but for now, I'm going to continue Final Fantasy IV, finish Devil May Cry 5, and Fire Emblem, because those I need to get done eventually. And then from there, we can start a new journey. So thank you guys for watching. I know it was a lot of talking, kind of drawing you into the atmosphere. Sorry for kind of the not raspy, but nasally sound. If you're interested, again, I will leave the link to this demo in the description below. Feel free to check it out. Everybody else, take care. I'll see you in the next video.